So today I have with me a senior psychiatrist, Dr. Satyen Sharma, and he had been helping me understand schizophrenia. Hi, doctor.
Hello.
Here we are going to talk something about mental health and certain mental illnesses. Tell me, why do people have insensitivity towards mental diseases?
Right. So, every time when we talk about mental health,
Yeah.
you need to understand that we are dealing with an entire sequence of invisible illnesses. They're not that easy to see. You have a broken bone, easy to see. You have an inflamed liver, you can see that. You have a dysfunctional heart, very easy to visualize. Right? But mental health is an invisible disorder.
Yeah.
You can't see it obviously on the outside. The person appears normal, right? And he appears healthy also sometimes. The only differentiating factors are how is he processing the reality inside his brain, how his behavior is changing, and that takes a little extra effort on the people who are around that person to observe those subtle changes. So that's why it's a big issue. Many a times people do not understand if they have a mental health issue or if a loved one has a mental health issue, or is he just going through a phase in life.
I feel that blaming someone for having a mental health issue is wrong instead of people being compassionate about it and solving that out.
Absolutely, I agree with you. So when somebody says that it's all in your head, that doesn't mean that it's not real.
Yeah.
It is in your head, it is in your brain,
Yeah.
but it is there.
It is there.
Right? And you can't just wish it away. Now with advancements in medical technologies, as well as so much of study which has happened, especially over the past couple of decades, into this area of behavioral sciences, we now do understand that the basic origin or the vulnerability for any mental health disorder comes from your genetic signature, your DNA, right? You can have a certain vulnerability in that, and if you look harder, you might be able to see it in your ancestors, in your parents, in your grandparents, certain issues, which at that point in time we did not have the vocabulary for.
Yes.
So right now I think is a great time to increase our knowledge about mental health issues. In fact, I sometimes prefer calling it brain health issue, which is less stigmatizing, which, in a way is empowering. Nothing is wrong with you as a person. Something might not be working at its full potential in the most normal manner in your brain. And it's not your fault. I completely agree with you, and thank you for pointing it out. We need more compassion, we need more empathy. We also need, I believe, a certain amount of knowledge. Going to a psychiatrist is equated with being mad.
It's equated simply that you are mad, that's why you need a
And that's
psychiatrist.
unfair, right? And that's not deserved.
Yeah.
Now, do you judge somebody for going to a lung doctor? Even if that person has been smoking, right? Similarly, in case of a brain illness, right, we need to understand one basic aspect. The human brain, for all its complexity and for all the wonders that it can do, in the long run, for any animal or a human being, the brain has a very simple function. And that function is that the brain needs to provide a steady state within which that animal can both survive and thrive, right? And this day and age, we are dealing with increasing amounts of stress. All of us carry a stress creator thing in our pockets, which we call it a smartphone, right? In the last 10 years, everybody's life and the physical brain has been changed by the smartphone. To leave your hands before you drop off to sleep, and probably the first thing you look for when you wake up in the morning.
I feel that the busy lifestyle, enhancement in technology, people have stopped giving importance to that time that you have with yourself or the peace out time.
It's, I think, the sort of society, the kind of lifestyle, for example, urbanization.
Yeah.
And when we talk about schizophrenia, there are very clear-cut statistics that urbanization increases the incidence of schizophrenia. So, out of 100 people in the general population, about 1% will have a vulnerability for developing schizophrenia. That's the incidence of this disease in the entire population. But as we go towards urban centers, it is seen that that incidence increases.
Yeah.
So living in cities is unnatural for humans. But unfortunately, it's a reality. We can't change the reality, we can't change the stressors. But one thing which we can definitely do, we can increase our brain's capacity to handle those stresses.
Yes.
And that's where, modern medicines, modern treatment modalities, psychotherapy, RTMS, and I like to call it the gift of psychopharmacology. Medicines which can actually make your quality of life better. You have an inflamed appendix. If it's causing pain, whether you want it or not, you trust your surgeon, right? You trust your doctor to take it out and ease the pain and clear up that disease.
Yes.
Why don't we give the same importance, the same respect to this disease which affects your most important organ, the brain?
Everything is there. Everything exists because brain is there.
100%. The entire advance of civilization has happened because of our collective brains working.
And we are like, we discard brain health so easily. That is a little unfair. So there is this disease that got my attention. And I had certain experiences, but I did not know the severity of it until and unless I delved into it.
Right.
So I would like you to tell me something about schizophrenia and what actually happens.
Let's clear up the air.
Yeah.
We do not have enough information out there for people to be easily able to pick up, these subtle signs, these changes in behavior, where they can start suspecting that it's a brain health issue, I need to see a specialist, or he needs help.
Yeah.
Right? Cat schizophrenia has so many mythologies and misconceptions around it. The very name itself, people think that schizophrenia is split personality. No, it's not. Absolutely not. What is schizophrenia? Let me break it down for you.
Please.
The signs and symptoms. Number one, delusions. Right? It's a serious mental health condition in which we see the patient suffering from delusions. Now, delusions are fixed, very firm beliefs which are not in keeping with the reality of that person or the culture, and that person will hold on to those false beliefs even when evidence is given. So delusion, very strong, firm beliefs, persecutory in nature, that people are out to get me, that people are talking about me, that people, do things to harm me in some way. The second part is hallucinations. Hallucinations mean feeling that there is an impulse out of any of the five senses without there actually being an impulse generated. They usually hear voices which don't exist in reality but is part of the disease. And these voices can have a very intimate relationship with that person. These voices can command that person. They could be talking about each one of his movements. They could be very derogatory in nature. So that person, you will feel, is always living in fear. He's always hyper-vigilant. He's always very suspicious, right? Because of these delusions, these hallucinations. And for the most important part, like you in the very beginning asked me, why don't people go to a doctor earlier? There is a lack of insight.
Yes.
Which means that the person who has that disease many a times may not attribute it to a disease. He may say that, no, people are actually after me. How can it be a disease? I actually hear these voices. This is not a disease.
Yes.
Right? And they may even resist going for treatment. So, if you are a caregiver, if you are somebody who wants to help a person, one has to be very gentle.
Yeah.
Right? And we do understand that giving care to a person who may not at times cooperate with treatment can be so very tough. I'll share one example which, that patient I had not seen myself, but my father had seen. And that patient had been brought to him after a very gruesome incident. So this patient was suffering from schizophrenia and he used to hear very strong, commanding voices. And under the influence of that disease, he pulled off the handle of a hand pump and actually murdered 3 people.
Okay.
Right? Now, this is very gruesome. And you know, when you look at a person from the outside, you know, these are the patients who I would think would be the closest image to what we call as madness, which we do not use anymore, of course. It's no longer a technical term, but madness meaning that the person is not responding to inputs in the right manner. His behavior is haywire, his behavior is very different, and it is under the effect of that particular disease process. So in this case, murders happened. He was overpowered, he was tied up and luckily brought to the doctor first before taking him to the police. Because people knew that there was a certain background to him. And then he was diagnosed with schizophrenia, he was given medications, but by that time the damage had been done. The cost of schizophrenia alone, in terms of the disease burden on society,
Yeah.
alone, schizophrenia costs the world, the society, more than all the cancers combined. It's that serious a problem.
How is that possible?
Yes. So when we talk about somebody with this genetic disorder, which might last for a lifelong, there are various levels of severity of schizophrenia, right? That person is, of course, very difficult if he's one of the more serious cases, not responding very well to medication or having more severe symptoms of schizophrenia, that person would be unemployable.
Yes.
Right? He would also probably require full-time care. Another person or maybe a group of people, the family to take care of this person, which would again cut down on productive man hours. Right? So that way, the entire disease burden gets spread over an entire lifetime, and in the long run, as I said, statistics show that the entire disease burden of schizophrenia is more than all the cancers combined. A certain predisposition towards developing schizophrenia, and it usually hits in young adulthood.
Yeah.
So kids who are going between 14 to about 19 years of age, that probably will be the first peak where schizophrenia and its symptoms start showing up.